Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about records that I wasted my money on, records that sound terrible. And I know we all go through that. If you are someone who ever buys reissues, you get excited, you see a title you really love and you want to buy it. And I have done that multiple times, only to come home, put the record on and be utterly disappointed and feel like I threw away $40, $35, maybe even more in some of the circumstances I'm going to show here. I mean, it's just so disheartening, and it shouldn't happen in this day and age. We're at the best in technology. There's no excuse to make these records be as bad as they sound. Now, I realize that not all records can sound amazing. They were recorded poorly, and I understand that. But these records, based on what they mean, the historic nature, and just flat out some laziness, probably, they sound terrible. And I don't recommend them. And this video is inspired by an experience I had a few weeks ago. I was looking for an Earth, Wind & Fire, the Best Of album by Earth, Wind & Fire. And I kept seeing a reissue. I could have just ordered off of Amazon or a local record store. It's in the shelves right now. And I could have bought the reissue of the Best of Earth, Wind & Fire. But because of the experiences I have had in the past with reissues sounding lousy, I didn't buy it. I couldn't find any information. There was no hype sticker on it saying anything about the way the reissue was made, if it was just basically CD to record. I couldn't find any information about who mastered this reissue. It was all a gamble, and I've gambled too often, quite frankly. So I decided to just pick up an original and be done with it. And it inspired me also because I watched a video by a guy who made a video. His channel is Sound Matters, and I'll leave a link below to the video where he was talking about bad sounding records in his collection. And it kind of just got me thinking, I'd already been kind of doing that, where I've just kind of turned my back on reissues that, let's just put it this way, if it's not a music label I trust or a mastering engineer I trust, I have to hear from word of mouth of other people that it sounds good. I'm not willing to take the chance anymore. $35 to $40 and up, it's just too much of a gamble, and I'm just not willing to do it anymore. So let me show you some examples of records that I've bought in the past that have led me to be the way I am today. And before I do, though, I want to take a quick unscientific poll. I found a couple of really cool things, and I want to know what you all would do if you're me. These are those little trading cards that came out back in the day. This is Kiss, and it's still sealed. They were just a couple dollars somewhere, not a big deal. And a Michael Jackson one. And it's funny because I can kind of like push on them. I can still smell that smell of the bubble gum. I'll never forget that smell. I was a trading card person when I was a kid. Charlie's Angels, Mork and Mindy, Kiss, Star Wars, you name it. I want to know, would you open them if you were me? They're still sealed. But I would love to see what's inside those cards. They're just nostalgic to me. I would love to have that experience I had as a child where I bought one of these trading cards and I opened it up. I won't be chewing the gum, sadly, but I would love to see what's inside. What would you all do? Would you open them? Or would you keep them sealed? There's a lot more open ones than sealed these days. Let me know in the comments. Now let me go and get to these records. First off, this one, and I've talked about this on my channel before, but it's worth mentioning again because it just sounds like hot garbage on a vinyl record. Kelly Clarkson's Breakaway. This one just sounds so flat and bad. And the sad part is, Kelly Clarkson is one of the best singers of all time, in my opinion. And professionals who have recorded records, the people who know, the experts. You ask them who is the best person to work with for being in tune and for having the best vocal, and they'll tell you, Kelly Clarkson. She should have records that showcase her voice that sound amazing. And I don't think she does, at least not with this one. This is Breakaway. I bought this. Now, I'll be honest, it's not something I visit very often anyway, but I have great memories of going to a Kelly Clarkson concert with my daughter when she was a kid. And this represents my daughter's childhood, which I listened to all of the music she listened to as a kid. That's kind of part of the job of a parent in a way. Know what they're listening to, know what they're into. It's a great way to kind of gauge where your, kid is at. You got to pay attention, So that sounds awful. And this was an Urban Outfitters exclusive on gold vinyl. So this is a record where obviously they weren't making it for me. I'm not the target audience here. My daughter's generation is the target audience, or even younger. People who grew up with her music that are nostalgic. It was their childhood. And most likely they own a Crosley turntable. They just think vinyl's cool to display in their room, just an accessory. And they buy this, and it's got the really cool color and a nice album cover. And it's limited edition, That's the target, not someone who wants to sit back and listen to some amazing sonics, But I wish I hadn't bought that. Now, I could trade it in or sell it. It sells for pretty good money these days. I could pass it on to someone else. I really hate to do that because I don't want to pass on something that sounds really bad. But yet, I'm not the target audience. That, for me, was a waste of money. I can resell it. I might in the future. Same with this. And of course, I'm going to get to something better here in just a minute. So please hang on. This is Jonas Brothers. Again, my daughter's era. Beautiful pictures, beautiful album cover. The packaging is fantastic. And it's on beautiful vinyl. Again, they are targeting people that don't really have great stereo equipment. They probably have a Crosley or something like that, and they just wanted to get into the vinyl craze a little bit. Sadly, when they hear these type of records, they're going to eventually decide, I'm out. That doesn't serve a purpose. That doesn't sound good. So let's get into now some records that you will understand. Let's talk about the Rolling Stones. This is Hackney Diamonds, and this is the St. Louis Cardinals version of it. I love the Rolling Stones. We all do. They are amazing. No expense should be spared when they go into the recording room, because who knows how many more albums might even be in them at this point. This might be the last one. I can't believe how disappointing this is. Now, this St. Louis Cardinals version, of course, a lot of people collected. I think they put an album cover along with a different color vinyl for every Major League Baseball team. And some people are collecting all of them, I guess. But anyway, I put this on. This is on white vinyl. And Mick Jagger's vocals sound like he's in a tunnel. And it's just kind of muffled. Now, I will say, like, when you first sit down to listen, you think, okay, this isn't bad. But it's the long haul. When you listen to it for a while, after a while, it just all starts sounding flat. No dynamics, no airiness, no three-dimensional sound. They could have done so much better for the Rolling Stones. And I feel like, again, I threw my money away. The next record was a huge disappointment, and I'll be honest with you. My husband and I did a comparison between this vinyl record copy and streaming won, and it wasn't even close. I wasted my money by buying this on vinyl. I should have just listened to it when I wanted to by streaming it. And it is Sting, 10 Sumner's Tales. This is a reissue. This is not an original. I don't even know where originals, by the time this came out, vinyl records were on their way out. So there's probably not a ton of those. This one has the hit Fields of Gold on it. I mean, the streaming sounds so much better. Shape of My Heart is excellent when you stream it. And it's just, this one falls apart when you compare it to how it sounds streaming. And that's a Sting. Sting should sound amazing on vinyl. And early ones do. The early Police records sound really good. I don't know why that one is such a disaster. It was such a disappointment. But even though this is really bad, and I feel like I threw away my money, this was one of the worst purchases I ever made and turned me against Record Store Day for a while. This is Cheap Trick. Are you ready? Now, this was a concert, and what really attracted me to this was it was a New Year's Eve concert from 1979 going into 1980. I still remember that night as a kid thinking, yay, we're going to go into the 80s. Can I have the 70s back, please? Especially with everything that's going on these days. I'd like to go back to 70s. And maybe I was just oblivious because I was a child. I'm sure there was a lot of horrible things going on in the 70s too. But this is a Record Store Day release from Cheap Trick. And it has an amazing track listing. But this sounds like one of the worst bootlegs you could ever own. It's official. It was a Record Store Day release. And they just phoned it in. And it's bad. I'm not blaming Cheap Trick. I'm not blaming them. But whoever decided this should be a release and charge us for it, big mistake. And I think this one and several other live albums from Record Store Day has turned a lot of people away from buying the Record Store Day live releases. I know it's given me pause, and I think it has for a lot of people. So if you see Cheap Trick, Are You Ready? The concert from 1979 going into 1980, avoid it. You look it up on YouTube and listen to it that way. You don't need this vinyl record because, quite frankly, it sounds like garbage. And I threw away a lot of money. All right, this next one, I'm going to pick on Record Store Day just one more time. And I'm not going to blame Record Store Day exactly. This is Unlimited Love by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And this is a record that I started listening to when it came out by the Red Hot Chili Peppers in my car. And I started really liking it. And maybe it's not as good as early Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff. It's really hard to compete with nostalgia and memories of albums you've had in the past. You know, you get to a certain age when you're hot, and then you put something else out a little later. I thought this was a very good, solid record, Unlimited Love by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I'd been listening to it for a while, and I saw that Record Store Day was going to have this alternate cover. It's kind of silver and black, unlike the regular copies, and it was on a silver metallic record. I talked a little bit about that Kelly Clarkson being on gold vinyl. Not the quietest pressing, but not horrible. This one is the one that I now have decided when it comes to vinyl records, I will avoid metallic colors as much as possible. I put that Record Store Day record on, and throughout the whole album, you know, I won't say the music sounded bad, but in the background, the whole time, such a disappointment. To the point where I saw this, it was a Target exclusive version on red vinyl with the normal, this is the regular album cover that you see most of the time. This was on clearance for $9, and I went ahead and bought this one so that I had a cleaner copy. And yes, red vinyl, it was a lot better. It didn't have that sound the whole time. It's fine. But I shouldn't have had to buy a second copy of a brand new record. And whoever bought, whoever put this one out, did you not put this one on your own turntable and give a listen to it before you unleashed it on people like me? Come on. I've read the reviews. It's unanimous. That's a terrible sounding pressing of that record, and it was so disappointing. And now I want to talk to you about one that I'm going to give a little redemption to. I've talked about this and I've put it down a little bit. I put it on the other day to listen to it again. And it sounded better than I remembered. I guess once you think something sounds really bad, it only gets worse in your mind. And I'm talking about Odyssey and Oracle. This is the Newberry Comics exclusive. It's called, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly or not, Verice Vintage is who put it out. and it's on a beautiful splatter vinyl. So my husband surprised me with this version of Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies because it's really cool looking. He thought I would really enjoy it, and I do. I think it's cool. Very limited to 1,000 copies. And the problem is there's better sounding pressings of this record. Now I put it on recently to give it another listen, and I will admit it's not as bad as some of these other records I've already shown. But if you could ever hear a first pressing, a second pressing, the Big Beat 30th anniversary version, this falls short. In the beginning, it kind of sounds nice, but I find I can't, after listening to the first song or so, I can't engage with the music the way I can with the other versions of this record. It gets a little bright, a little ear fatiguing. It just doesn't have the dynamics that some of the other pressings have. Now, there is a brand new reissue that's been newly remastered in mono, and I don't have that one because I'm scared to buy it. I'm afraid of wasting my money. So if you have it and it sounds really great or it sounds really bad, let me know. I'm just curious as to how this one sounds in mono. Another record that I want to give a little bit of grace to because it doesn't sound bad. It's actually a very good sounding record. And every version of this record you ever own is going to sound very good unless it's a beat up old copy because it's going to have so much sound pops and clicks. And I'm talking about Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, the 50th Anniversary Collector's Edition. 50th year anniversary, the golden year. How in the world can the 50th anniversary version be the worst sounding version? And by being the worst sounding, it still sounds pretty good because this record was recorded to perfection. But you would expect the 50th anniversary version, they would have taken the time and made an incredible sounding record, something that competes with a UK first pressing or even the 30th anniversary that Kevin Gray did. This one, I have the Mobile Fidelity one, I have the 30th anniversary cut by Kevin Gray, I have a US first pressing, I have a quad. And this one's the worst sounding of all those. It's the prettiest one. It was 2 LPs, single-sided, and they put it on this clear vinyl that has a lot of pretty looks to it. It looks really cool on the turntable. And it doesn't sound bad, but it's just not the full experience of what Dark Side of the Moon should be. And I just think with an anniversary like the 50th year anniversary, it should have been better. I don't need this copy. I don't pull it out just to look at. When I want to listen to this record, this is not the version I'm going to pull out because it's not the best. It's not even close. Having said that, if you own this and you're happy with it, you should be. It sounds good. It's a good sounding record. It's just not the best it could have been. And I expect more from Pink Floyd, from it being the 50th anniversary of one of the most important records and one of the best recorded records of all time. And finally, just something on a sentimental note, okay? Not that this is like the best album in the world, but we're in mid-September now. And we're getting to the point where if you ever do buy Christmas records, this is the time to kind of start looking for them. Around December, they're harder to find, harder to get, and you want to have plenty of time to enjoy them. If you're going to buy the Andy Williams Christmas album, don't buy the red vinyl version, the reissue, and spend $25 or $30 on it, unless you have to. But I say first, before you do that, since we're here in December, be on the lookout. Go to the dollar bins. You can find really cheap Christmas records, and you can probably find a good early pressing for $1. Don't spend $25 or $30 on the red vinyl version because, for one, it just doesn't sound quite as good. It doesn't have the magic, in my opinion. And I'll admit, yes, this is a sentimental record for me. So having that black vinyl version, the old version, It doesn't have to be a first pressing. They have a really good second pressings and third pressings. Get an early version. Don't spend $25 or $30 on this record when you can literally buy it for $1. It's just such a special record for me and for a lot of people. That's just how I feel about buying Christmas records these days, especially old classics. Try to find the old versions. They're cheaper and they're going to sound better. So that's my records that I am talking about that I think are a waste of money. I threw away my money. Are there any you want to share? If you are a video channel and you want to show some of your worst sounding records, you can kind of continue it and maybe start a thread for the Sound Matters channel. And I want to know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you think some of these records sound awesome? Because we're allowed to disagree about that. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. Most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.